For the last several days, Prajwal Revanna, the MP from Hassan, has finally broken his silence as far as this entire scandal is concerned. Through his advocates, he has now put out a statement that in the next 7 days, he is going to appear before the SIT and that truth will prevail. Meanwhile, his father goes on to say that they haven't done anything wrong and that they will fight this battle out. Let's listen in firstly to Mr. Revanna's reaction.
ನನಗೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಷಡ್ಯಂತ್ರ ಏನಿದೆ ಆ ಷಡ್ಯಂತ್ರ ಎದುರಿಸೋ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ
ಇವಾಗ ತನಿಖೆ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತೀರಾ
ಎಲ್ಲಾನು ಎದುರಿಸೋಣ ಏನ್ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ನಾವಂತ
ಇವಾಗ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್ ತನಿಖೆ
ತಪ್ಪು ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವುದೇ ತನಿಖೆಗೆ ಸಿದ್ಧ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ
ಯಾವ ತನಿಖೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ
ಎದುರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಕಾನೂನು ರೀತಿ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ
ಈ ಆರೋಪ ಬಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಳ್ಳಾಗದು
ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಸುಳ್ಳಿನ ಆರೋಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತೇನು.
Well, meanwhile, the SIT, of course, continues its investigation. There are 3 wings of the SIT that have been formed. One will look at the FIR. One will look at, the videos and, the victims in the videos and try to approach them, try to get their statements if they're willing to, of course. Then there is another aspect as well to look into here. That is, of course, who leaked the video. All of this is going to be looked into by the SIT. Meanwhile, the politics, of course, continues to peak. The latest that is coming in from the Karnataka Congress, the Chief Minister is leading the charge here, who goes on to say that it was Mr. Deve Gowda who helped Prajwal Revanna flee the country. Listen to this reaction.
ವಿದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಪಾಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಯಾರು ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ವೀಸಾ ಕೊಡೋರು ಯಾರು ಇವರು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೊಂಟೋದಾರ ಹೌದು ದೇವೇಗೌಡರೇ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸಿರೋದು ವಿದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಈಗ SIT ತನಿಖೆ ನಡೀತಿದೆ,
ಸುಖವಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಸಂತ್ರಸ್ತರು ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿಕೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದಾ ಸರ್?
ನಂಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲಿ. ಈಗ ನಾನೇ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಮುಂಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಹಂಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಊಹೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡಲಿ. ನಾವು SIT ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಾವು ರಾಜಕೀಯವಾಗಿ ಇಂಟರ್ಫಿಯರ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Chief Minister says that the Congress has nothing to do with the video or its leakage. Let's listen to his reaction.
ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಪೋಕ್ಸ್ಮನ್ ಹೇಳೋರೆ ಮುಂಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿನ ಭೇಟಿ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ತಿರ್ಗಾ BJP ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ. ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿತ್ತು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. ನಾವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟು ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿಗೆ ನಾರಿ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಭಾಳ ಗೌರವ ಇದೆ. ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿ ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟು ಯಾರು BJP ಅವರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮೊದಲು ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ತಾಯಂದಿರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಿ ಗೌರವ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸಾಂತ್ವನ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಧೈರ್ಯ ತುಂಬುವಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಫಸ್ಟು BJP ಅವರು ಜನತಾದಳದವರು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಿ.
Now, your channel also went ahead and spoke to the lawyers of Prajwal Revanna. They've, of course, responded on behalf of him. He's put out that message on social media as well. Let's listen to what they said.
Why the 7 days of time? This is something that's being perpetrated as a very big crime. There are, of course, a lot of allegations against him. There are also allegations that he's fled the country right after this came to light, just a couple of hours after the elections in Hassan. Why the 7 days of time?
So, madam, the whatever imputations that you made against my client, I can deny it, and it is not for those purpose. The imputations, whatever you referred to. And one other thing, what I can add is that the first question, what you said, why the 7 days? I think this case has its own dimensions. And when I had a conversation, we felt he requires some time, and he had certain, because he had already certain previous appointments. Considering all those things, we took this decision. 7 days time is required, and as per his request, I have written this letter.
Okay, so you are denying these allegations. You've also spoken with your client. Has he denied these allegations flatly as well?
Very much.
Okay.
Very much. And as I just now I was telling to other media channels also, see, one thing is, insofar as these images or the videos, whatever which is being purportedly of the victims or anyone else, see, for apprehending these kind of situations, he had already approached the civil court, and there is an injunction order in his favor. There is an injunction order in his favor. So he anticipated 1 year back, and now for whatever reasons, it is like there are certain motives which is been playing around is what I sincerely feel when I had a conversation. So only time will tell how those motives have to be addressed.
I can play out that clip for you, that interview with Mr. Prajwal, I beg your pardon, with Mr. H.D. Revanna yesterday, where while speaking to not one, but at least about 5 different channels, he himself has admitted that this is nothing but a conspiracy. But having said that, he said these videos are 4-5 years old. Why is the case being taken up now? So what is the implication of this on the case? How do you see this?
Madam, if you want to surprise me by those videos also or whatever it is. No, I don't want to give the inference by your question. Because if at all, if he has said, it will be there in the public domain. I can only speak to my client's instruction that all those things which has been now employed or which has been utilized by the various people or for whatever purpose it has been employed are all for not good reasons. And the truth will come out.
My colleague Neha now joins us live on the broadcast. Neha, you just spoke to the advocate as well there. Now it looks like it's going to be at least a few more days before Revanna appears. And when you consider the timeline that has been stated, they say 7 days. That would mean that, the elections as far as northern part of Karnataka would be over by then. And, this particular case also has a lot of bearing on the polls too.
Well, that's absolutely right, Deepak. Of course, if we're talking about the political bearings and the investigation in this case, of course, we're seeing very contradictory statements coming in here. First, you have H.D. Revanna yesterday admitting that these videos are 4 to 5 years old and are now being raked up for a case to be taken up in the middle of elections. Today, you have Prajwal Revanna's advocate there coming forward and saying that he has said that these videos are fake. There itself is, of course, the first contradiction. And naturally so, of course, you're seeing now a political storm over this entire issue. While you have the BJP here that's pointing fingers at the Congress party, questioning what they were doing 4-5 years back when these videos were in fact made and why they didn't act on it. The Congress party has, of course, gone back to point fingers now at the BJP, JDS alliance partner, and ask why they're supporting this, and are they really, of course, party to these videos? Are they okay? Are they still going to continue with the ticket to Prajwal Revanna? And how, of course, this is playing out. Most importantly, also, of course, you now have the BJP. In fact, you have H.D. Kumaraswamy, I beg your pardon here, who's come out and said that this is a deliberate attempt to bring disrepute to his family. Absolute politics being played over this entire case. But as far as the investigation is concerned, we're given to understand that H.D. Revanna has been summoned. He's likely to appear before the SIT by 11 tomorrow morning. We'll really have to wait and see how that goes forward.
Yes, of course. And right now, the Chief Minister has also written to the Prime Minister saying that, the centre should somewhere cancel his passport as well. We'll really have to see politically how this develops. Thanking Neha there. Let me open this up to our panel of guests. G.S. Prashant, spokesperson of the BJP, is with us. Satabhi Shivarna, spokesperson of the Congress. Brinda Adige, activist, and Nirmal Kaur, former IPS officers, also joining us today on the broadcast. I'm going to take this across. Firstly, to Satabhi. Satabhi, quite a lot of developments as far as from the Congress party. On one hand, the Chief Minister has said that probably it was Mr. Deve Gowda who helped him flee the country. On the other, Mr. D.K. Shivkumar says that the Congress had no role to play as far as, how the video got leaked. On the other hand, you also have the BJP today come out. Mr. R. Ashok, the leader of the opposition, went ahead and said, well, Prajwal Revanna is still an MP born out of the coalition of the BJP and, I beg your pardon, of the Congress and the JDS in 2019.
The fact of the matter today remains that Mr. Prajwal Revanna is an absconding MP. He is attempting to flee the arms of the law. He's attempting to flee justice.
Background में आवाज आ रही है मेरे.
I'm sorry. The core of the issue remains that this act is a vicious, demonic, and barbaric act involving thousands of videos and includes hundreds of women. It is no longer an individualistic act of cultural deviance, rather a classic case of abuse of power and misuse of position to exploit the downtrodden. The stand of the Congress government today is clear. We have the FIR emerged on the 28th. A special investigation team has been constituted on the very same day. Now it is the role of the special investigation team not only to bring the perpetrators of the crime to justice, rather protect the dignity of the victims and also make attempts to rehabilitate them. We are doing everything in our possibility to ensure that this man is put behind bars. And it is an admitted fact that these videos exist. What was the need for obtaining an order of temporary injunction if these videos didn't exist at all? It is an admitted fact that these videos exist. And today the CM has come out and he's requesting the Honorable Central Government and the Honorable Prime Minister to act in coordination with the state government. And he's requesting that he deploys diplomatic channels to ensure that the passport, which allegedly is a diplomatic passport, that it should be revoked and that he should be brought back to Bangalore immediately. And what does Prajwal Revanna mean by truth will prevail? Truth will only prevail if you participate in a transparent manner in the investigation. And I've been hearing a lot of these conspiracy theories being hatched by the Bharatiya Janata Party, who make allegations against the Congress, stating that it is us who revealed the videos or us who is circulating the videos. This is absolutely baseless and this is absolutely false. If it was really in our power to circulate these videos, we would have done so when Mr. Prajwal Revanna was sharing the dais with Prime Minister Modi, and Mr. Modi was seeking votes in favor of this culprit, this vicious demon. And what is the BJP doing on the contrary? Mr. Deve Gowda, that advocate or a party functionary of the Bharatiya Janata Party, he was in possession of these videos all along. He has never brought them to the law enforcement agencies. Rather, he was using it as a smoking gun.
There is no doubt this is, if this is true, okay, Satabish, there's no doubt if this is true, this is a heinous act. The guilty has to be booked. And there are no two ways about it, and there's no two ways to look at it. But I have a few questions because, more and more this is becoming political. So we'll have to look at some spectrums of that as well. Now, one is there are narratives that he fled from, Bengaluru, he flew abroad. The question here that the BJP one that they have raised is that, he's moved from Hassan all the way to the airport. If there was an intention to go ahead with the SIT, there would have been talks about it. The authorities would have been aware of these videos in circulation. So why wasn't there an attempt to stop him or stall him? His movement from Bengaluru, this is of course, the onus lies on the state police. The second aspect that comes into the picture is the FIR was not even registered when he actually left the country. So again, if you keep questioning the BJP at the center, saying, well, they allowed him, the immigration process comes under them, the passport comes under them, visa process comes under them. Well, now, if there is no SIT, if there is no FIR, how does this aspect come into the picture is the question.
See, firstly, the FIR, as you rightly pointed out, was emerged on the 28th of April. And Mr. Prajwal Revanna has fled the country on the 27th. Now, we are not blaming the central government saying that you allowed him to escape. Rather, we are seeking the central government's cooperation in ensuring that here is a man who is alleged of committing a horrific crime. Therefore,
but Satabish, now when the question comes to you saying not, but multiple leaders of yours did say that the center helped him escape. He fled the country. This was a statement that came in from many of the Congress parties.
See, at the moment, there is this person who has committed a horrific crime, who has fled the country, and he's attempting to get away from the arms of law, and he's attempting to flee justice. We are requesting the central government to come in support of the Congress government, cancel his diplomatic passport, and bring him back to the country, subject him to the special investigation team, let the truth come out. If you please ask them, are they willing to take enough and more measures to ensure that his passport is immediately revoked? If they say yes,
the Congress is putting the ball on the
action.
BJP's court and saying, will the center really come in here?
Deepak, see, it's become fashionable for Congress to try to blame center or question center for everything. He goes outside of India on 27th April, when probably Congress was aware that something like this has happened. The Congress leaders were aware. They did nothing. And nothing is, no inquiry commission is constituted, SIT is not constituted, and he leaves India in a normal manner. And now Congress comes back and says they lodge a FIR on 28th and stating that he should not have gone on a diplomatic passport. He is still the sitting MP. Therefore, if he has a diplomatic passport, he will travel with it. On what count
today,
can Congress say that BJP is letting go?
Justifying,
this has been the Congress
double
standards exposed here, stating that the Congress leaders have been making statements for the last 2 days saying that BJP has let them go out of the country, and Siddaramaiah says Deve Gowda let him go. was where was the SIT even constituted or FIR lodged on 27th when he left the country? If Congress was aware that such a thing is there, because if Congress has distributed the pen drives, they are aware that such a thing is there. They should have arrested Prajwal Revanna much before 27th, on 26th or 25th, or whenever it came to light. They never did any of those things. They waited for the elections to get over and then tried to use it politically. This is actually shameful on the Congress part. They have brought victims to the forefront. They have shared that videos, and now they're publicly shaming the victims there. This should not be done. And in so far as BJP is concerned, we will never stand with any person, irrespective of which party they belong to, anybody who offends women or talks ill of women. And especially it comes to dignity of women, BJP would be at the forefront to protect our women. Because we always stand for Nari Shakti and Matra Shakti. Because even in Sandesh Kali, BJP was the one who had to use all the legal procedures to ensure that victims there get justice.
Okay.
When TMC was not even
Okay,
doing anything.
we have
The
a
police were
former
protecting
IPS
the,
officer with us
perpetrators there.
on the debate, Mr. Prashant. So let me bring in Nirmal Kaur as well into this. Ms. Kaur, if you could tell us, now when you look at a situation like this, I'm asking you just on the technicalities of it. The person here, there is no case registered against him. He leaves on the 27th. The case is registered on the 28th. An SIT is formed. And now you have this blame game as whether the state allowed him to flee, whether the center allowed him to flee. How do you really pursue an individual without a case being registered?
Even there was nothing really, there was nothing
And
at that time.
and also, if you could really make this stand clear as to who is to blame here.
No, I think 27th when there's nothing. If the state government is so smart and they could have preempted it. If they knew that all this is there and this is going to happen, they could have very quickly registered the FIR and preempted his leaving the country. If that is the thing. See, there are two aspects. One is the political aspect of the case. The other is the criminal aspect of the case. I can speak on the criminal aspect of the case. I mean, these allegations are very serious. And very rightly, the government has formed an SIT. And it is, and one thing one can clearly see is that there's an asymmetry in power. The person making the allegation is a domestic servant, even though she's related to the family in some far off way. But she's a domestic servant employed by the perpetrator, by the person who's charged with the crime. So, that aspect, I'm sure the SIT will keep in mind while taking statements, recording the case, and give, all due encouragement to the victim to come out and tell her story. And also, when you employ someone, when somebody is a domestic in your house, you are kind of in a fiduciary position to look after that person. And instead, if this kind of exploitation kind of a thing, comes, the allegation which has come, and 2,800 clips, who was videographing, and how come 2,800 clips came? All this is, very, it was going on for years and years, and no one came out. And if there are 2,800 women, how come not a single woman? I mean, not one of them spoke out against it. I mean, even if there are a few women, it should have come out by now. It did not come out. And 28th it comes out. And the legal position is that writing a letter is a political gambit. But demanding, under the Passport Act, whatever the procedure is, with due process, making demands, fulfilling the due process, legally sound demands, I think that is what should be done if they want his passport cancelled or whatever. I mean, all this is just, hullabaloo, so that they get
Is this a case?
some
Is
kind
this a
of public
fit case
attention.
for his diplomatic passport to be cancelled? Is it a fit case, Mrs. Kaur?
See, the diplomatic passport, perhaps he has as a member of parliament. So whatever that will depend a lot on what are the prima facie findings of the SIT. What does the SIT say? I mean, the allegation has come. There are some video clips which are not in public domain. No one knows whether they are morphed, they are genuine, what they are. But one thing one can clearly see is the asymmetry of power. The person making the allegation and the person charged with having committed that crime, they stand on very different footings. So I'm sure, the SIT has to give due protection to the woman to come out and speak and adduce all the evidence she has and speak about whatever allegations she's making and to give all the evidence, dates, or whatever is required in the police investigation.
Yeah.
And a thorough police investigation should be done,
Okay.
keeping this political side and the hype that is surrounding the case aside. Because courts are going to only see the evidence. They're not going to see this political hype in the media or wherever it is. Courts are going to prosecute or give a hearing for the bail or whatever on the basis of the evidence which the police brings before them. So evidence has to be gathered, properly collected, keeping in mind the situation of the things and the
Okay.
the
Mr.
balance
Scott,
of power
before
between
I have to take a break, but before that, I'll also bring in Brinda Adige as well. She's been patiently listening to the political opinions and also your expert, view on how the investigation should proceed. Brinda, while we're talking about all of this, here there are dozens, or if you go by some of the talks, there are hundreds of women. The SIT on one hand, it's doing its job, but a message that has been put out on Twitter, or rather, social media handle X, where Mr. Prajwal Revanna says he needs 7 more days to appear and that the truth will prevail. What do you make of a response like this coming to the fore?
It's just an eyewash response, politically trying to keep himself safe. There's no reason for him to ask 7 days except that the elections are on and they hope that they might win something. And we know over here that if he can flee within 4 or 5 hours, he can also come back in 5, 6 hours. And what he has done just now, asking for 7 days, is simply an eyewash, putting all the victims more in trouble. And of course, having the advantages of a diplomatic passport where he is enjoying wherever he is. And the court allowing that 7 days is what we must also question. What is the need for 7 days? It is not that we do not have transportation that can bring him back here in about 10 hours. The court must also apply its mind. Just because there is somebody asking for 7 days.
It's May 1st. And in 7 days from now, the second part of elections in Karnataka, the third phase, 14 constituencies will be voting. That's probably why 7 days is needed.
Yes, that's exactly why he has asked for those 7 days.
Well, we'll continue this debate, Brinda. I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. I need to take a very quick commercial break. We'll come back. I'm requesting all our guests to stay with us. We'll come back to this story. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. We are discussing the latest developments as far as the Prajwal Revanna case. In the latest, of course, he's come out on social media and said that in the next 7 days he'll appear before the SIT. He says that there are fabricated details that are emerging and he will, in fact, come out clean. Truth will prevail is what he claims, even as the SIT continues its investigation. The politics around it peaks. Now, while the Congress has been attacking the BJP for the last several days that they let him escape, that he is an ally of the BJP today has countered. Mr. R. Ashok, the leader of the opposition, I spoke to him earlier. Here is what he says. His rationale is in this story.
Any letter, I have not received any letter. That is the statement by our party president, Mr. Vijayendra. So we are not concerned, we are not informed anything. So I am asking the question of the Congress people. So he voted in the Hassan. Last day, he voted in the Hassan. So then he went to the airport. I think 5 districts, he crossed the 5 districts. Is the MP. Gunman is there. State government given the gunman also. What is the role of? Everything known about the local DC and SP. Why not the intelligence fail? Karnataka.
So, Shatabish, I was just referring to this. Before he made a mention of the Congress allowing him to flee, saying that there were about 300 to 400 kilometers from Hassan to, the airport, and if the state government had a whiff about it, they should have stopped it. He also goes on to say that, well, in 2019, where he says, factually, he's an MP of the coalition of the Congress and the JDS. And he's not yet been elected as an MP of the NDA coalition. What do you make of this theory?
Firstly, the FIR emerged on the basis of a complaint given by an aggrieved woman. This complaint was given on the 28th. Immediately, the Congress government has instituted or constituted a special investigating team. But Prajwal Revanna has fled the country on the 27th. Therefore, how can you blame the Congress party in preempting his escape to a foreign nation. But let me tell you, the BJP, the functionaries of the BJP, including the state president as well as the national president, were aware of these videos. These videos were in their possession, but they did not come to the law enforcement agencies and hand them over. Rather, they held on to it as a smoking gun to use it as per their own convenience. Despite having full knowledge that this person has committed such grievous crimes, not only do they give him a ticket, they also help him to flee the country, is the insinuation that we are making. Despite having knowledge of all these videos, why have they kept silent? Why did they not approach the law enforcement agencies in the first place?
I'll ask Prashant to respond, Satabish.
Yes.
I'll ask Prashant to respond to the charge that you're making, which you already made a little while earlier. But one thing I'll have to really understand, the viewers too need to know this. In 2023 itself, there were talks of such videos that existed. He has gone to court at that point in time and got a stay order or an injunction that, nobody should be airing such a video. Okay, now this happened in 2023. At that point in time, didn't the state government get a whiff of what's probably happening?
No. See, in 2023, he's procured an order of temporary injunction from court. And so did so many other BJP leaders, including Pratap Simha, Tejasvi Surya, etc., etc. But today, the videos of Prajwal Revanna have come and they're being circulated all over the country through media channels and otherwise. And the fact that there are so many women involved, they have come to the fore, they have gathered the courage and approached the state government as on today. Immediately, we have taken affirmative and immediate action. It is just that.
Okay. Prashant, Prashant, the Congress says that they have taken affirmative action, but on one hand, your leader comes out today, and I really don't know how to really put this across. At the end of the day, today, the BJP is an ally of the JDS. The BJP did campaign for him in Hassan. Now, there are a lot of people who've come on record. They've written letters, they say, to the High Command, to the state leadership about his antecedents. Despite all this, he's the one who contests. But now to come out and say, well, he's been elected in 2019 because of the Congress coalition, Congress backed him then. This, tutu meme, is it going to help anybody here? Because it seems like, the BJP wants to really rub its hands off Mr. Prajwal Revanna. The Congress is wanting to link Prajwal Revanna to the BJP. It is becoming more political than anything else because the focus seems to be going away from actually trying to get hold of him, investigate him, and more importantly, here give justice to any of those affected women.
Exactly the point BJP is making. BJP at no point in time has stood with perpetrators. We've always stood with women. We have stood for justice. If Prajwal Revanna, when he had that gag order from the civil court in 2023 June, Congress was aware that some videos are there, though it was not publicly available or it is not aired like how it has probably been circulated now. When Congress government was aware that such a thing is there.
Now the Congress is saying that they were not aware of the videos. The BJP is saying, despite the BJP leader, your MLA candidate, they're saying, Mr. Prashant, he said that he's written a letter. And you're denying that, ever got the letter or any information about this.
Deepak, see, Deve Gowda had filed an election petition against Prajwal also, which Supreme Court had also stayed. So therefore, on one hand, keeping the election issue aside, when Vijayendra has clarified that no such letter or videos have come to his notice and nothing was brought to his notice, you cannot say BJP was responsible for something when state government's intelligence has failed completely in trying to ensure that Prajwal does not leave. First of all, he left from Hassan. He came to Bangalore and he flew out of Bangalore airport. So what was Congress intelligence doing there? Why is the fingers being pointed at BJP when Congress intelligence has failed miserably and Congress workers were aware, Congress leaders were aware, and they waited for him to vote on 26th and register a case on 28th? You could have arrested him outside the election booth on 26th. What stopped the Congress? Are you saying that Congress people was not aware of anything that happened before that, and only on 28th morning they woke up?
That's a question that I did ask Satabish. I will again ask him, Prashant. That's a question I did ask Satabish because, they also here need to really pull up their socks when this matter came to light. It was not on the day of elections when, Hassan voted. It was much earlier. And if if we as media personnel knew that these videos were in circulation, the police 100% will know. There is the intelligence bureau that will definitely know. So there was a lot of lacuna as far as taking up this matter itself, the registry of the FIR, and that is why it seems more political than anything else. But to the BJP, I must ask, Prashant, when you have Mr. H.D. Kumaraswamy, who is on record speaking to a regional media channel where he says that the High Command of the BJP was contemplating whether to give Revanna a ticket. He, of course, doesn't really come out and speak about what exactly was the reason. But there was a doubt in the minds of the High Command whether he should be given a ticket or not. He says that Mr. Deve Gowda insisted. And that is why the ticket was given. And now, to come out and completely say that the state leadership of the High Command was completely unaware of such a possibility.
No, Deepak,
do you think that the people are going to buy it?
No, Deepak, we agree that JDS is part of NDA. That does not mean we decide their candidates. Okay, we as BJP, we can decide who will contest on BJP symbol and not the alliance partners candidates. So therefore, some discussions might have happened as to winnability and other criteria on a political basis, whom to be given the seats and who's the best candidate suited. So therefore, when JDS has issued the B form to its candidate, who's part of the NDA alliance, just because JDS is part of the NDA alliance does not mean BJP owns up to what Prajwal Revanna has done, which means Congress led by Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge is directly responsible for Sandesh Kali violence. The atrocities committed
You
in
are
Sandesh
directly
Kali,
responsible
Congress
for the
is
Manipur
responsible
violence.
Congress is
BJP is directly responsible for the Manipur violence.
Are you wanting to
You
say
are
that
directly
Rahul Gandhi is
responsible for the Manipur
for
violence.
Sandesh Kali violence?
You are directly
you saying Sonia
responsible.
Gandhi supports the
You are
Sandesh Kali
directly
violence?
responsible
Are you
for the
saying
Manipur
Priyanka
violence.
Gandhi
What action have you
wanted this
taken?
violence
It
to
is a
happen in
natural
Sandesh
trend
Kali?
of the Bharatiya Janata Party
Therefore, to put the
and
blame
their
on
Prime
BJP
Minister.
stating that they're part of NDA is utter failure on the intelligence of Congress, state government and its police here to preempt such a thing happening. And it's only trying to wash off dirty linen in public, trying to point fingers at BJP.
The blame game continues, Brinda Adige, but you know, how do you really look at this? Because it feels like the elections. It feels like the elections. You know, it has a lot to do with this blame game that's going on between the BJP and the Congress. But at the end of the day, the focus should be and should remain the safety of women and ensuring that, you know, if there are any victims, and which looks like, at least from the videos, if you go by the claim now, they're saying that it's morph. But if the law, that's what the advocates say. Now, this is something that the police should verify, isn't it, Brinda? That should be the primary focus.
I quote my friend's mother here, Deepak. From Mahabharat's time till today, Kal Yuga, it is the woman's respect and dignity that has been used as power and power dynamics and in politics. And it is the same that is happening over here. We are not looking at the 2,000 plus women and their families, their children, what they are going through, what they have suffered. But we are talking about who put the videos out, who gave it to whom, why somebody else was sitting on the stage with somebody. We know for sure that they have all played their political games, and all of these were tactics so that somewhere, somehow, somebody will win in whichever way, without an iota of thought to these 2,976 women and their families. But you want all of their votes, but you will not show any respect and dignity to them. And I'm sure now, I do not know much of the law, but whatever little I know, that the state government having constituted the SIT and taking this whole case forward, it is now the responsibility of every politician, political party to ensure that their victims and their families are not intimidated or threatened in any which way, and allow the police to do their job so that a fit case is presented in court and the culprits and the sexual predators are duly punished.
Absolutely, and because, you know, he belongs to such a political family, powerful political family, there is every chance that, you know, witnesses here, victims here, all of them could be influenced, they could be threatened. So that's where the role of the police really comes in. And you are very right to say that everyone is trying to gain from this politically, and somewhere they have not looked into the key aspect of how many of these women in these videos could be actually victims. Because if this the issue surfaced in 2023 itself. Now, whether within the Congress and the BJP, both of them claiming that they were unaware up until very recently is very hard to believe. And now, so much of blame game that's happening between political parties while elections are going on. But the focus around the women, their safety, the victims here, that seems to be losing focus. Mrs. Kaur, right now, as far as the police is concerned, what should they do? Because especially considering many of these alleged victims, the speculation is that they are from, the Hassan Holenasipura region as well. As far as the police, what can they really do to ensure that there is no coercion, there are no threats, issued to them? What should they be really doing?
See, the public posturing of everyone is of that of holier than thou. But nobody is clean here. Nobody is clean. 2023, when that gag order was obtained from the local court, they were bedfellows, Congress and JDS. Today, he's switched over the alliance with somebody else. And I think, that nobody's really fully clean. Nobody's hands are, totally good here. But the police has to do its duty in a very dispassionate manner without aligning itself with anyone and, find out the truth and gather all the evidence and give all the protection and encouragement needed. Because if the women are very weak compared to our system coddles the powerful. There's no doubt about it. We have a system which really protects the powerful or, sides with the powerful. Whether it's the judiciary system or it's the system of advocacy or it's the criminal trials, anything, our whole system, even in development funds and all, it's the powerful who end up getting more development. So the system is very, very lopsided. It is definitely the balance of power is towards the people who have more power and more influence in the society. So I suppose that these women, I'm hoping that SIT and the police and the whole society, as a community, we give all the encouragement for these women to come out and speak the truth. And, the videos will be analyzed. If they are morphed, that can easily be said by, it's part of the investigation. So investigation will tell us the truth, and investigation has to be done thoroughly, and evidence has to be recorded.
Absolutely, Mrs. Kaur. And right now the lawyers come out, or, Mr. Revanna comes out, anybody comes out and says whether it's morphed or not. It's for the investigation officials right now to decide. The SIT has been formed. What hasn't been done in the past, of course, let's not probably delve too much. And what's going to happen now is the biggest question, even as the politics around it doesn't seem to stop. I'm thanking all our panelists for joining us on this broadcast. We are slipping into a quick break. On the other side, more news and updates continues.